Well, good afternoon, everyone. A couple of very quick housekeeping items. Don't forget, please keep yourself on mute this afternoon. Go ahead, if you don't mind, add your affiliation next to your Zoom ID as well. If you need record permission, Arnie is standing by. Let him know, and we'll take care of that for you. And if you have a question, as always, use the virtual raised hand button, and we'll make sure you're a part of the Q&A here in just a bit. Well, certainly, as you know, announced just a couple hours ago, Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing completing their 2024 driver lineup with the return of Pietro Fittipaldi. Pietro will drive number 30 for the Honda-powered team. Pietro with, as you know, 9 total starts previously in the Indy Car Series, driving, of course, for Dale Coyne Racing. Has experience on 4 of the racetracks IndyCar will visit in 2024 with at previous races at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, Worldwide Technology Raceway, and Portland International Raceway as well. The Haas F1 test driver, obviously the grandson, 2-time Indy 500 champion, 1989 IndyCar Series champion, Emerson Fittipaldi, and Pietro joins us today. Pietro, thanks for joining us, as does the co-owner of Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing from a shop in Zionsville, headquarters in Zionsville. I hate to call it a shop, Bob, because that's
thank you.
Not that. Bobby Rahal joins us as well. Pietro, we'll start with you. Welcome back. Full-time ride in 2024. How exciting is this for you to return to the NTT IndyCar Series?
I'm unbelievably excited. I'm very happy for this opportunity. For me, IndyCar is one of the most competitive and versatile series in the world, you know, racing on street courses, road courses, ovals, which I love oval racing, and to be racing for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, it's unbelievable opportunity for me in my career. I'm very much looking forward to it. It's a race-winning team, championship-winning team. So, I'm so happy and very excited.
As many of us on this call know, you were the most recent Brazilian to race in F1 when it was one of your 2 starts. For the series as a whole, though, you will be the only Brazilian competing in a series that has certainly many over the years, including, of course, your grandfather and cousin Christian, who had a second in Indy and pole at Brazil. Just talk about the history of the Fittipaldi name and what it means to be back in IndyCar.
It means a lot. I mean, obviously, my grandfather had a unbelievable legacy here in IndyCar, winning a championship and the 2 Indy 500s. Christian as well, winning races, finishing second at the Indy 500. My uncle Max Pappas as well, winning IndyCar races for Mr. Bobby Rahal. So there's a lot of history behind it. Obviously, it's a big privilege for me to be part of a racing family that understands so much about the motorsport world. But we're here and focused on the 2024 season and trying to get the best results possible, results that the team deserve. You know, they won races this year, had 4 pole positions, and I know that they're working, to improve on that and keep building and being even better and faster for the 2024 season.
And the countdown towards that is certainly on. Stand by, Pietro. Bobby, for you, certainly you competed against the name Fittipaldi for years, and now you've hired one. What does Pietro bring to the table for you and the team, and how excited are you that he's now part of this organization?
Well, I think Pietro, first off, he's had a very successful career in junior categories, multiple champion in junior categories. Did a few races here. He qualified 13th at Indy, and I think it was 20 or 21, I believe. Not bad, right? And had some decent runs in the few races he did do. Obviously, getting hurt in the prototype car at Spa set him back. But I think the thing that most impressed me about Pietro it was his work ethic and his focus. It's all there's no question that this is where he wants to be, and I'm excited about that. And I think I know people who where he's driven in their teams, and they have nothing but great things to say about him. So I'm confident that he can help take the team forward.
We'll go ahead and open up for questions again. If you have a question, there's a feature there, a virtual raised hand button. Hit that and let us know that you have a question. We will begin with, let's go Nathan Brown, Indianapolis Star. Go ahead, Nathan.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us this afternoon. First question for both Pietro and Bobby, whoever wants to take, or both of you can chime in. Just would be interested to know how this deal came about. Pietro, I know you've been away from the sport for a couple years. Was this kind of always a design to make your way back here? And Bobby, how did you guys come aligned with Pietro a month or so after the 2023 season has ended?
Well, for me, it's always been a goal of mine, a dream of mine, to be able to race in IndyCar full time. We know it's an extremely competitive series, and there's a lot of drivers and limited rides available. And every year, I mean, it seems like the series gets more and more competitive. And I've always had that goal. I was racing the World Endurance Championship this year with Team Joda, and I knew Bobby for some years, and I've always kept in touch with Bobby. And when the opportunity was there, and we worked through it, and to be able to race for him now and for this whole organization is incredible opportunity.
Anything to add, Bobby?
Well, just for me, as Pietro said, we've stayed in touch for a number of years. I always, as I said earlier, was impressed by the job he did under very limited circumstances. I look at his background, in World Series Renault, very successful, competing against guys like Alex Rossi. I have a lot of respect for Alex Rossi. I think he just, the whole package really is what interested us to do this. Myself, Mike, David, Steve Erickson. I think just we looked at Pietro as being a guy that had the experience and knew what the expectation would be, and that just seemed to make it the right choice in our mind, and I think it is the right choice.
Pietro, I know you've been either test or reserve or both for Haas's F1 team since 2019. Your two stints in IndyCar, as far as I understood, those things were still able to continue. Will you be able to or plan to hold on to your role in Haas moving forward next year with the full-time IndyCar ride?
Obviously, my focus now long term is in IndyCar. But I've been part of the Haas Formula One family for, I think, 6 seasons now, and they're basically my racing family. A lot of the guys that started in the team are still there, and we have an amazing relationship with Gunther Steiner, with Mr. Gene Haas as well. I have a tremendous amount of respect for them, and I'm very grateful for them, and we've been able to do a lot of amazing things together. Obviously, Gunther and Mr. Haas were always informed of what was going on and the possibility of IndyCar. And that's something that we're still talking about next year, if there could be a possibility to keep an association with the team, similar to what Alex Palou did with McLaren, or Pato is doing with McLaren. That's something that we're discussing and seeing what the possibilities are. Because for sure it would be great to still have an association with the team. We have such a long story together, so I don't see a reason why I wouldn't be able to continue. But obviously, the priority and the focus is the IndyCar racing.
And then, Bobby, I don't think it was laid out in the press release. Is this just at this point a 1-year deal for Pietro, or have you guys signed a multi-year deal?
No, we see this as a multi-year deal, and
Okay.
And happy to do so, frankly.
Okay. And I know there was a lot of speculation that you guys might end up hiring Yuri Vips for this ride, or a ride at some point. How have you guys ended up with him? Is he still in part of any of your plans in any way, or you guys moved forward?
Yeah, no, we exercised our option with Yuri, and as I said back, I don't know when it was, several months ago, we see Yuri as a long-term play as well. So, we'd like to run a 4th car. We're not making as much progress on that as we would like, but that's certainly a hope. And, maybe it's only a selected number of races. Maybe it's only one, maybe it's none. We're not quite sure, but there was one thing we did know is we wanted to keep Yuri in our family. I mean, he did a great job for us in Portland and a fabulous job in Laguna. It's a shame the chaos at the start caught him out. But all in all, very impressed with Yuri. So we certainly wanted to keep him within our organization.
Great. Thanks, guys, and congrats on the news today.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thanks, Nathan. Marshall Pruitt, Racer Magazine. Go ahead, Marshall.
Thanks, Davey. Pietro, we have you back in IndyCar. When you first got here, you made it pretty clear that while it wasn't a big full season multi-year deal, you made it pretty clear that this was the place you wanted to be. You said you were a little sad that that couldn't be for you right off. We got you back for a little bit in 2021, but you made it clear that although we didn't have you for very long in those couple of stints, you never really wanted to go. Tell me about the efforts, not just to come back, but also about the timing, right? What is it about 2024 that for you said, hey, this is the right time to make this push, to make this happen with a really good team?
Listen, Marshall, I've always had the goal to race in IndyCar full time because for me, I love oval racing. I've won races on ovals. I've won a late model championship, and I've won championships on road course racing, with the World Series, the British Formula Renault, the Asian F3 stuff. And for me, the IndyCar is like the perfect series for me. I was born in the US, so to be able to be stateside as well is something that I love. And I've always been trying to come to IndyCar full time since 2018. And honestly, man, I never gave up. I'm a type of person that I'm very persistent, and you have to push, you have to hustle and try to make it happen. So every year I would try, and if we weren't able to get the opportunity, I was always racing other series. So this year with the World Endurance Championship, which has been an amazing year with Team Jota, we've been extremely competitive all season. We won a race at Monza. We were pole position in the qualifying session in Le Mans, and we're second in hyperpole there. And there were opportunities in endurance racing as well. And when this opportunity came to be able to join RLL is something that, as you know, I've been working for a long time, and I had to grab it with both hands. And now we gotta dig hard and push to get the results.
When you were here with Coyne, it was a great opportunity, young driver, no big expectations. You weren't being asked to lead the team and that kind of stuff. Tell me about who you are today coming into the team, Pietro, because I can tell you Bob and Lundgaard and Graham, they're not looking for a P3 driver within the team. I know they want you to go out, earn poles, win races. There's a lot of pressure for a team that's trying to get back to running at the front on a consistent basis. You ready for that? Have you developed into a guy in recent years who's capable of doing that?
Absolutely. I think when I went in to IndyCar in 2018, it was after I won the World Series championship, and Sebastian Bourdais was there. So naturally, he was a great team leader. He was a team leader, and I was able to learn a lot from Sebastian. And there was Craig Hampson, Michael Cannon, and Olivier, and I learned a lot from those guys. But over the past few years, gaining the experience in Formula One, working closely together with the whole Haas F1 team, as well in the World Endurance Championship and the endurance races I've been doing, and this year with Team Jota as well. They're a fantastic team. I feel I'm ready. We all want to get results. I understand the position of the team where they want to move forward and improve on what they already did this year, which was a very strong year for them. And I'm absolutely ready, and I can't wait to get started. I think pressure is part of the game. The higher the level you go, the more pressure there's going to be, but that means you're getting to a higher level. So pressure makes things even better, in my opinion.
Crazy. Bob, when we spoke about a week and a half ago at Petit Le Mans, you said you were trying to find Yuri something in LMP2. And that impressed me because, at least for the impression that I got, you are interested in his development, whether it's in an Indy car seat. I know you mentioned you have an ambition of running him in a fourth car if possible, but that spoke to me about a desire to help him grow and build a wider career for himself in America, even if it's not as your choice as the full-time driver, the 30 car. Can you speak to that a little bit? Because it's one thing to have goals and ambitions for somebody. It's another thing to be out there actually trying to help find them work and find them rides to keep them busy, even if you don't have something for them today.
Right. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, Yuri's a good young man. I have to say that he did everything that we asked him to do. He, I think, showed that he certainly is capable of running up front in an IndyCar race. As I say, he's a good young man. I've gotten to know Yuri since he's been with us, and that's why, we wanted to make sure we kept him because we do want to run a fourth car if at all possible. And he certainly showed he belongs. And on top of that, but in the meantime, and on top of that, if we can help him get something when we're not using him, when we're not busy with him, why not? And so I know I'm introduced to him a few of the P2 guys at Road Atlanta. Just doing what we can to help him. But clearly, we want to keep him because he's a very, very good race car driver, and he'll still perform work for us. When you look at the new category with the hybrid, both Yuri, Christian, and Pietro have a lot of time in simulators and what have you, learning, understanding, this new world, and I think that's going to really help us get up to speed as a team that much more quickly, just because we have that kind of previous experience. So, between all of them, and then of course Graham also doing what he can, I think we got 4 chargers that can help take this team, as Pietro was saying, to help take this team forward.
Pietro's been fortunate to have some really strong and ardent support over the years. I know in your press release, at least, you said sponsors for the car will be announced at a later date. Can you share any insights as to whether we might see a blend of some of the long-standing supporters of Pietro along with the companies RLL has to support the 30 car? Is that still an ongoing process?
Well, it's ongoing. I mean, for sure. We're always, obviously interested in having new associations, and whether they're created by us or created by others. So, the idea though is to have a well-funded effort, and so I think we're going to be in pretty good shape there. But it's a never-ending process. There's no such thing as too much money, and there is a such thing as not enough time. So it's a balance of those two things. But certainly, we are, as is Pietro, that we're doing everything we can to ensure that we have the necessary budget to do the right job.
Finally, can you give us an update on how negotiations are going with that Rahal guy? Keep hearing rumors might be McLaren's new F1 test driver, but I never know what to believe. He driving a hard bargain, Bob?
We're okay. We're okay. I think we have an agreement. Everybody's happy with that, and yeah, I mean, when you look at the kind of year he had last year, as did Christian. As Pietro said, 4 pole positions. Graham within an eyelash of a 5th. If you look at Mid Ohio, that's the kind of competitive level that we all want, and he wants that, and we do too, just as Christian and now Pietro wants. So I think we've got a good lineup, a very good lineup of drivers for whatever the circuit may be, ovals or road courses or street courses. and I'm excited about the new year.
Thanks and congrats, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Marsh.
Thanks, Marshall. I know there's some Brazilian media on here. We'll get to you guys in just a second. Let's first go to Bruce Martin from Forbes and NBC. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, everybody. Bobby, legacies have always been important in IndyCar racing in the Indianapolis 500, whether it be the Andretti's, the Rahals, the Vukovic's. How cool is it to have a Fittipaldi return to the lineup?
I think it's very cool, right? Of course, I had the privilege and honor of racing against Emo, such an immensely talented driver. I never raced against Wilson Fittipaldi, but certainly knew his career well. And then, of course, Christian, who, he and I had a pretty tough battle in '95, the last few laps. I couldn't get by him, but anyway, a lot of respect for Christian. So I think more than anything, what comes out of, the legacies, as you say, is, whether it's Pietro or his brother Enzo or anybody, when you come from a racing family, the expectation, what it takes, the demands. You're just, it's in your blood. And I think there's no question that Pietro carries, the blood of the Fittipaldi name and the Fittipaldi family. And that's pretty powerful, if you ask me.
And Pietro, sitting around talking to your grandfather, talking to your uncle, who works for IndyCar, what are some of the stories you grew up hearing, and how much did that really spark your fire to want to run the Indianapolis 500 and be an IndyCar driver?
Well, my uncle Max Pappas has been a extreme supporter of my career since I started karting, and he introduced me to Bobby back in 2018. So that's when I first started getting in touch with Mr. Bobby Rahal, and Max would tell me all the stories. I think they won together when, I think it's still a record to this day, where he started at last in Laguna Seca and won the race. So he was definitely telling me that story a couple times, and his amazing experience with the Rahal IndyCar team. And for me now to be able to race, for like legendary team owners like Bobby Rahal, Mr. Lanigan, Mr. Letterman, it's very, very cool. So now the focus is on delivering on track and winning races, and one day hopefully going for championships as well.
And Pietro, a lot of drivers who've had experience in Formula One say the thing that they love about driving an IndyCar is it really lets the driver decide, puts it in the driver's hands. And how important is that for you as a racing driver to have more input in what you're able to do in a race rather than the technology of the car?
Listen, what I love about IndyCar race is that, let's say you don't have a great qualifying and you're starting outside the top 20, you still have a chance to win. Sometimes you're doing races where there's 3, 4, 5 pit stops in a race and many different strategies, with the fuel effect and having to refuel. And it's, I love it. And not to say just the oval racing. I know a lot of drivers sometimes that come from the outside, they're a little bit wary about the, oval racing, but that's something that I've loved since I can remember. I've always wanted to have a NASCAR career as well. So it's for me, IndyCar is it's an amazing series, and one of the most competitive in the world.
All right, well, congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. Let's take a few in, I'm assuming, Portuguese. Jefferson Kern, TV Cultura. Go ahead, Jefferson.
Thanks, Dave. I would like to talk in Portuguese just a little bit with Pietro. Pietro, antes de mais nada, parabéns. Sensacional, fantástico. E eu queria que você falasse, sobretudo, a respeito das emoções. Você estava aí na trilha da Indy, sofreu aquele acidente, depois você teve aquela temporada que dividiu o carro com o Grosjean. Você falou várias vezes da sua vontade de correr em tempo integral na Indy, da sua paixão pelas 500 milhas de Indianápolis. E ano que vem, completando 40 anos da Indy no Brasil, que foi uma trilha começada por um Fittipaldi, seu avô. Queria que você falasse para a gente sobre todas as emoções que você está sentindo nesse momento.
Muito legal esse detalhe, eu não sabia disso, mas, cara, eu estou extremamente feliz, sinto bem preparado para esse desafio, né, de correr na Fórmula Indy, mas para fazer com um time também, com a Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, é uma grande oportunidade para mim. Eu estava fazendo as corridas e os campeonatos de endurance, tive a oportunidade para ano que vem, sabe, na categoria de Hypercar, mas quando veio essa oportunidade de conseguir fazer, sabe, essa trajetória para a Fórmula Indy com a Rahal, era uma coisa que eu tive que agarrar com as duas mãos. Como você sabe, eu estou há anos tentando, sabe, ter uma oportunidade de correr na Fórmula Indy full time, né? E agora foi uma coisa assim, tipo, eu nunca desisti. Depois de tantos anos, todo ano eu ligava para os times, tô aqui, esses são meus resultados. Eu sempre mantive em contato com os times, dando um update da minha carreira e sabe, todo ano as coisas andavam um pouco, às vezes não tinha oportunidade. Esse ano teve e o Mr. Rahal confiou e confia que a gente pode fazer um bom trabalho junto. Então, bora para cima em 2024.
Qual você acha que vão ser os maiores desafios? Voltar a disputar uma temporada completa, você encarar aí vários circuitos ovais, competitividade da categoria, o que vai ser, quais os maiores desafios na sua visão, chegando hoje, dessa sua temporada na Indy para 2024?
Então, eu acho que não, esse ano, os últimos 2 anos eu corri em temporadas completas, né, em European Le Mans e também no Campeonato Mundial de Endurance, mas eu acho que o maior desafio é a competição, né, é muito competitiva a Fórmula Indy, você tem também pouco tempo de pista, então tem algumas pistas que eu não conheço, vai ser um desafio tentar aprender rápido a pista, mas isso é uma coisa que eu sou bom. E, cara, tudo na Fórmula Indy é detalhe. Se você vê nas classificações para você passar no Fast 12, aí no Fast 6, tipo, às vezes é por meio décimo. Então, é detalhe e ganhar aquela bagagem e quilometragem no carro o mais rápido possível no começo do ano. E aí tentar engajar bem com o carro rápido e maximizar toda a corrida.
Mr. Rahal, could you give a special message to the Brazilian fans? I think that's the first time after 40 years that the names Rahal and Fittipaldi are not against each other, but are together. What could you say about our Brazilian fans, about Pietro and your memories related to Brazil?
Well, I mean, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the races with and against Emerson were so special. But it wasn't just him, for years there was such a huge Brazilian driver aspect into IndyCar racing. Mauricio Gugelmin, Rahul boys who drove for me. We drove together in 1995. Of course, Christian Fittipaldi, Tony Kanaan, Elio. I mean, the list goes on and on. And I think that for Pietro now, he's the next one. He's the next Brazilian that I have no doubt will have success in IndyCar and continue that great reputation of Brazilian race car drivers in Indianapolis car racing.
Thank you so much, Bobby. Pietro, congratulations. David, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Obrigado.
Thanks for joining us. Let's go Daniel Balsa from Formula Indy Brazil. Go ahead, Daniel.
Thank you, Dave. Pietro, quando você venceu a Super Fórmula V8, você correu com um tal de Alex Palou. E quando vocês correram juntos, você venceu mais corridas do que ele. Esse é um retrospecto que te empolga nesse início de Fórmula Indy? Como que você, por exemplo, vê depois dessas andanças de vocês, né, anos depois, se encontrarem na Fórmula Indy, você na sua primeira temporada completa, e ele já bicampeão da categoria?
Yeah, so when I raced in World Series, obviously it was with Alex Palou. Desculpa, em português, caramba. Quando eu corri no campeonato de World Series em 2017, foi com Alex Palou. E claro, a gente competiu muito juntos. Inclusive, eu igualizei, eu fiz a pole position junto com ele em Austin, Texas. A gente acabou fazendo literalmente o mesmo tempo na classificação. Foi a única vez na vida que isso aconteceu comigo. A gente empatou para pole position em Austin, e ele acabou levando a pole porque ele tinha feito mais cedo o tempo. de volta na classificação. Mas claro que me empolga só de ver o sucesso dele. Ele é um cara muito focado, muito dedicado, e eu sou parecido nesse aspecto. Tipo, eu gosto de colocar horas de trabalho atrás da minha profissão. Tipo, já estou vendo em me mudar aqui para Indianápolis em dezembro, janeiro, eu quero morar aqui em Indianápolis, estar no time todo dia, e eu sei que ele é um cara bem parecido, e só de ver o sucesso dele é uma motivação, e eu quero, sabe, um dia ter esse sucesso também. Eu tô confiante que a gente vai conseguir fazer isso, mas tudo passo a passo.
Pietro, em 2023, a Rahal teve alguns altos e baixos. O que a torcida brasileira pode esperar do Pietro para essa próxima temporada?
Então, para essa próxima temporada, olha, o time fez 4 poles, ganhou uma corrida, e eles estão, tipo, num momentum muito bom agora para 2024. Claro que o time sofreu um pouco nos ovais, eles estão trabalhando nisso para melhorar o desempenho nos ovais. Então a meta vai ser também tentar ajudar o time a desenvolver esse aspecto, porque eu gosto muito de correr no oval. E, meu, tipo, vamos ir corrida a corrida. Eu acho que é maximizar todo o final de semana. O carro, a gente sabe as pistas que é competitivo. Quando é competitivo, a gente precisa maximizar o resultado, tentar brigar para pole position, quem sabe ganhar a corrida. E as corridas que a performance sofre um pouco mais, tentar melhorar. E o time já sabe disso, dessa última temporada. Mas eu tô muito feliz, e que nem eu falei, eu vou me passo a passo. Tem 2 companheiros que ganharam corridas na Indy, então tem muita experiência também com a categoria, e com certeza eu vou apoiar neles para melhorar e me engajar mais rápido com o carro.
Parabéns, obrigado, viu, Pietro? Thank you,
Obrigado.
Dave.
Thank you.
You got it, Daniel. Thanks for checking in. I apologize. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get to everyone here this afternoon. Let's take a few more in English. Eric Smith, Race Review Online, back in Indianapolis. Eric, go ahead.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you. Yeah, Pietro, I'm just curious that when this opportunity arose, your previous IndyCar opportunity, it was more of an oval specialist deal, because I know you obviously had a background at ovals and Hickory and late models, but since you've done a lot of road racing, do you feel you're better equipped now to handle full-time IndyCar racing compared to you would have been probably 2018, 2021 range?
No, I think I was always ready to make the switch full time to IndyCar. It was just a matter of having the right opportunity. But obviously, now with the years and the experience I've built in Formula One, in endurance racing, DTM, Formula E, Super Formula, all these categories, for sure you arrive much more prepared and experienced, and I think weathered, to be able to, under pressure, then deliver what the team is expecting from you. So I would say in that part, in terms of experience, yeah, for sure I'm more prepared. But in terms of speed and stuff, I remember, back in 2018, we were extremely competitive in the road courses and testing. And then obviously I had that accident, which kind of derailed stuff. But now I'm ready and focused for 2024.
And speaking of 18, I know a lot of people probably don't realize that you lived at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for a couple months, rehabbing and going through what you need to do to get back into a race car. How much did living here did you just daydream and think about, man, I got to get back here someday? I know you did in 21, but now you're in a Rahal car. Now you're full-time in an Indy car. Take me through that process in 18, living at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What was that like, and how important that was to get you back to where you are today?
Yeah, so basically I had the accident and surgery on the same night in Belgium, and we decided to fly to Indianapolis and use the medical facility here to do my rehab. So I lived 2 months inside the Speedway, and Dr. Tremmel was supporting and supervising me throughout the whole process. My mom lived with me at the motorhome, and the goal was to get back to racing as soon as possible. The surgeon told me that it would take me a year to get back because I had metals in my legs and stuff. But I was like, listen, I have a contract with IndyCar. There's 5 races to go here for me, and I need to get back. So I came here. Dr. Tremmel supported me 2.5 months after my accident, I got back racing an Indy car. I probably was not ready, and thinking about it now, I should have waited longer. But Dr. Tremble built me this carbon fiber brace to put on my leg, but I could barely hit the brake properly. I was under a lot of pain, taking painkillers and stuff. But we got back, and we still had I think we finished 10th in Gateway and 9th in Portland. And I was like braking at, I don't know, 70% of my capacity and stuff. And at the end, that also got me the opportunity to then do the test for Haas at the end of 2018. So, yeah, and now to be back here and have the opportunity to race a full-time season, as you know, it's something, yeah, I've been working and waiting for a long time. So you can imagine how excited and motivated I am.
Awesome story. Thanks, Pietro. And for Bobby, hope you're doing well. I know you had some health stuff going on at the end of the season, so hope you're doing well now. Just curious, you mentioned over the years that you don't want to add a second car to take away from Graham's car, and then to bring the third car, you didn't want to take away from the two operations. Now you're discussing now maybe a fourth car. How much can that fourth car bring to further Rahal Letterman Lanigan to that next step? Do you feel you're there now? That's kind of a detriment right now until you get that point of catching up with the Ganassis and Penske's on a weekly basis, and the thoughts of Pietro and how he can take you to that next step too.
You know, I mean, certainly we're not going to rush right in to a fourth car for the reasons that you mentioned. You know, you've got to be prepared to do that, to do it correctly, to do it so that that fourth car actually contributes to going forward. You know, I think we certainly saw some improvements last year. Obviously, our poor performance in Indianapolis still, you know, is by far, you know, outweighs every other thing we did last year. And, you know, we've been committed to changing that for this coming year. And I think we're making progress on that already. So the first thing, you're right, is, you know, we've got three strong drivers in those cars. And the first goal is to, you know, have them consistently run up front. And so we do that before we do anything else. But I do like the drivers that we have, you know, in terms of, you know, the entire lineup with Yuri, you know, obviously with Pietro, Graham, and Christian. I think that's a pretty strong driver lineup. And, you know, Ganassi's run 5 cars. You know, Andretti has run 4 cars. So people are doing it. We just have to make sure that we're in a position to do it and to do it well.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Hope you're doing well. Congrats on the announcement today, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Time for one or two more. Ben Johnson from the Paddock Eye. Go ahead, Ben.
Here's Dave. Hey guys, congratulations on today's news. It's fantastic. For yourself, Pietro, what race are you most looking forward to this season?
the Indianapolis 500. I think, yeah.
Good answer.
I think everyone wants to win the Indy 500. So it's one of those races. You know, you win that race, you're in the history books. And it's not easy to win it. A lot of people say that the track and the race chooses the winner in some years. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the event. It's taking it step by step. It's a whole process in Indy, and, you know, managing your energy throughout the whole 2 race weeks there, and then being able to perform on qualifying day and race day is it's a one of a kind thing, definitely.
Excellent, thanks. And for yourself, Bobby, obviously, like, Pietro's kind of raced in an awful lot of different categories since the last race in IndyCar. What do you think that brings to you guys as a team in terms of, like, technical feedback and that?
Well, I really believe that the more things you can drive, they can just enhance your abilities. Whatever series you want to focus on. Obviously, the experience of running, you know, P2 or Formula One cars, or, you know, or Royal Series Renault or whatever. That all that, as Pietro said, all that experience just makes you even further prepared for making the next steps. And so I think that's an advantage. You know, Pietro. I asked Pietro, how old he was, and he said he's 27. And I said, I think that's perfect, because that's the kind of experience that you want coming into a team. I believe that a driver's, sweet spot in terms of years is from about the age of 27 to 37 to maybe 40. So yeah, him bringing all those different types of experience in is just a huge plus in my mind. So I have no doubt that his experience in those many different formulas can be of great value to the organization this year.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on the announcement, guys, and see you soon.
Thank you, Ben.
Cheers, Dave.
Thanks, Ben. Let's take one more. Ida Wood. Go ahead, Ida.
Question to Pietro. What's your schedule looking like between now and the start of next season? For example, are you going to have to be focusing on your Haas commitments for the next month or so? And are you then going to be spending all your time at the Rahal headquarters and trying to get to the team? And do you know how much testing you might be doing on track between now and the start of the year?
$40,000 price.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty busy.
That to $49,000. But again, that is still $10,000 higher than the automaker had originally.
Sorry.
Very expensive to bring EVs to market. In a lot of cases, vehicles that were announced at a certain price point a couple years ago.
My fault.
Automakers not been able to hold those prices in this market.
My fault.
Hey, Arnie, there we go. Go ahead, Pietro.
Yeah, no, it's looking very busy. I'm here until tomorrow afternoon, and then Wednesday I go to Mexico with Haas, and then Bahrain with Team Jota. But the goal is getting through, my commitments now until I think end of November is when the F1 and WEC season finishes, and then from there it's kind of shifting my focus and looking at the things now towards IndyCar. But as I already told the team, whenever they need me between that time, I'm going to be available, and I'm going to make it out here. And then from end of November onwards, looking at moving into Indianapolis and working towards the 2024 season.
Awesome. And by any chance, who your engineer or your mechanic might be for next year yet?
Not sure yet. I think the team is still defining and working on it, but I trust that this organization, Team Rahal, I mean, they've won races and everything. It's going to be very good, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Wicked, and hope you enjoy your first full season in IndyCar.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Ida. We're going to go ahead and leave it there. Our thanks to both Bobby Rahal. Bobby, have a great winter. We'll see you in the spring, and Pietro as well.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Appreciate you being a part of this today. Thank you.
Bye-bye.